On a summer camp to Israel many years ago, we spent the last day planting trees in the surrounding area of Jerusalem. All I did was dig a hole and plant a seed, but for some reason, I soon became very overwhelmed with emotions. As our counselors were calling us all back to the bus, I instinctively grabbed a small stone from the earth and placed it in my pocket. 2 years ago, I moved to London from Singapore, not knowing what was going to be in store for me. I loved Israel with all my heart, but was hesitant on how welcoming my campus was actually going to be. It was distressing to have to limit how much information I gave to students, and I began to censor myself. I thought that if I kept my head down and my thoughts to myself, things were going to run smoothly. If I did not attract any attention to myself, nothing would go wrong. But how wrong I was. A few weeks on, the Palestinian Society invited a terrorist to Skype in for an event they were hosting. A man who stabbed an Israeli in 1992 was speaking to about 60 of my students. A man who went to jail was being applauded by my classmates. And a man who could do what he did again had a fan base. I left the event shaking because it was the first time I faced the reality I wanted to shy away from for so long. At home, I instinctively reached for the Jerusalem stone I had kept in the dust all these years. The emotions I felt on that day I planted the tree were no short-term tears, but they were a sign of what was yet to come. In that moment, I knew I had to do something. The infamous Israel Apartheid Week was coming up, and I knew it was time to create a movement of Jewish students and pro-Israel students across London to stand up for themselves instead of cowering to the side. It all began when 3 friends and I met at a pizza place in Golders Green. We had enough of the status quo during this hateful week, and we put together a game plan. We created a group on Facebook called Israel Party Week and used it as a platform for students to know that they are not alone during this period of time. We gathered fact sheets, falafels, and music and headed out to every university we could. With Israeli flags on our backs, we stood at stalls every day for 2 weeks. 4 students soon became 10, which soon became 30. It became a movement. Students came up to me exclaiming how nothing like this has ever been done before, and that it gave them hope and courage for others to stand up as well. We created a positive social change and stood by our rights as students, and I could not have done it without that stone I picked up from Jerusalem many years ago. Hatred on our campuses will never take place unmatched. Israel Party Week is now Israel Peace Week, a week that aims to educate about the attempts to peace, the fragile and valuable coexistence and diversity I so admire and love in this country. Israel Peace Week will happen every year and perhaps will change its name one day. But today I am positive that years after I graduate, we will still hear about a group of students making a difference and creating a positive change because we have ignited a spark which I know will never die.